Shortly after the news of Ms. Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan surfaced, Beijing responded in a threatening manner. Nevertheless, on August 2, 2022, the United States politician Ms. Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan, while serving as the Speaker of U.S. House of Representatives. Ms. Pelosi visited Taipei, capital of Taiwan, where hundreds came out to welcome her at the airport. The tallest building in the capital was lit up with welcoming messages for the Speaker. Many groups of Taiwanese supported and welcomed her, whereas some protested the visit with pro-China banners. Ms. Pelosi met with Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen and assured him of United States' unconditioned support regardless of China's threats. Ms. Pelosi said, "Today the world faces a choice between democracy and autocracy. America's determination to preserve democracy here in Taiwan and around the world remains ironclad." The meeting was widely celebrated in Taiwan and was considered a figurative victory. Ms. Pelosi is the highest-ranking active member of the United States government to visit Taiwan in 25 years. The trip is an evidence of the international support for the self-ruled democratic Taiwan despite China's relentless efforts of isolating the island. She added trade deals between Taiwan and United States. She also met with the Taiwan chip manufacturing giant TSMC during her visit. Ms. Pelosi's visit is a poke in the eye for China, as China considers Taiwan, that exists in the eastern part of China, as a part of its own territory. Pelosi met with the human rights activists in Taipei and visited the Human Rights Museum. She also had a meeting with lawmakers of Taiwan. Mandarin is the official language used by both China and Taiwan. This shows China's influence over the country. Beijing strongly condemned the U.S. Speaker's visit with threats and responded with military drills near Taiwan. After Pelosi's visit, Hua Chunying, a spokeswoman for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, said in a news conference, "As for the specific countermeasures, what I can tell you is that they'll include everything that should be included. The measures in question will be firm, vigorous and effective, and the U.S. side and Taiwan independence forces will continue feeling them." China responded with military drills at the coastline as close as 10 miles into the Taiwan's territorial waters, much closer than their previous tests 26 years ago. The military drills lasted for 5 days around Taiwan. United States blames China for shooting missiles over the island, but Beijing never confirmed it. Taiwan claimed that missiles fired by China were unthreatening as they went high up into the atmosphere. U.S. President Biden has promised multiple times to defend Taiwan if China decides to attack. In a recent CBS interview, when asked, Mr. Biden said, "Yes, if in fact, there was an unprecedented attack." Later, the White House clarified that the official U.S. policy of not committing to military action on Taiwan is still in effect. China firmly opposed in response to Mr. Biden's statements. Taiwan has its own constitution with democratically elected leaders and 300,000 active personnel in the armed forces. China calls the island as their own and insists to unify it with the mainland even if they have to use force to make it happen. Only a few countries have recognized Taiwan so far, as majority of the countries recognize Chinese government in Beijing. The U.S. has no official relationships with Taiwan and does not have a law that demands to provide Taiwan with the means to defend themselves. U.S. clings to one China policy on the basis of good U.S.-China relationship. One China policy refers that U.S. accepts and acknowledges there is only one Chinese government and has formal relations with China instead of Taiwan. On the other hand, U.S. also maintains close ties with Taiwan and sells weapons under the Taiwan Relations Act that says U.S. must provide Taiwan means to defend itself. In another interview of the President Biden's "Yes" on the question of defending Taiwan, the White House quickly responded that there is no change in the existing long-term standing U.S. policy on the matter. Washington always downplays the president's quotes on the matter because they have always maintained a diplomatic stance over the issue of Taiwan. U.S. President Joe Biden has pledged to defend Taiwan multiple times, but almost every time it is countered by Washington's stance of strategic ambiguity. It is unclear and seems like U.S. does not commit or deny the option of defending Taiwan. In a recent interview, Biden said, "There's a one China policy and Taiwan makes their own judgments on their independence. We are not moving, not encouraging their being independent, that's their decision. Taiwan responded and welcomed the statement by calling it U.S. government's rock-solid security commitment to Taiwan, and further added that they wished to continue towards strengthening the relationship with the U.S. in their close security partnership with Washington. Recently, U.S. agreed to sell $1.1 billion worth of weapons and missile defense to Taiwan, adding insult to injury and angering China. Tensions between United States and China have bolstered up ever since Pelosi's visit. Every time Mr. Biden comments on the matter with military action, Beijing responds and condemns. Recently, China's foreign ministry spokesman said Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. The Taiwan question is purely China's internal affair that brooks no foreign interference. Taiwan netizens show mixed opinions on social media. They showed zeal for the U.S. support and Pelosi's visit but are also worried at the same time for a potential war-like situation between China and Taiwan. United States Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit was stated as not a good idea by the United States President Joe Biden. A simple visit that lasted only a while has stirred a huge controversy on the international forum. China is stubborn with their narrative and the U.S. looks confused and unclear with their cause. The Taiwan Strait is a passage that connects and is used as a gateway by ships of almost every kind. This gateway connects about all of the vital ports in Northeast Asia. Clearly both countries, China and US, are looking for domination. If US manages to keep their hold on Taiwan, China might feel threatened by it since South Korea and Japan are already US allies who represent US interests in the region. And if US drops their cause, this will put China on a course of dominating the trade route without any hurdle connecting them to important ports of the world, more fortifying the already economic superpower of the world. Taiwan, who is also a giant in the chip manufacturing business, holds 90% of the trade in the world. A strong hold on Taiwan means controlling a chip manufacturing hub in the world. In short, this controversy has a major potential of all-out war, and since it involves an important region of the world with two superpowers going tête-à-tête, the rest of the neighbors like India and Pakistan, North Korea and South Korea might jump in, putting more fuel into the fire. Hopefully a war will be avoided and the issue can be solved pacifistically, unlike Ukraine-Russia war.